Hello, everyone. It's Justice. Today we're in for a long one. We're kind of going to go over all of the journals that I've used for 2021 and kind of my plans a little bit at the end. Um, I used, I think it was 10. Let's count as we go through. So, journal number one, it was a Traveler's Company insert. I believe it was the 003. Um, I started off my year trying to do 1 month, one insert. And I think at the beginning of every year, we all try to do our best to have a set system that works for us. And obviously, as you see, as the year goes, I don't necessarily keep everything. But something that I did do for the entire year was I had in my bullet journal setup a weekly page and dailies. I did dailies for just about every single day of 2021, which is honestly hilarious to me. Um, this insert here, I tried to incorporate some really bullet journaly aspects to it. So as you can see, I used a lot of highlighters. I used markers, so I had like Crayolas and Tombos. I used my fountain pens, and I also tried to use like some ballpoint pens or felt tip pens just to mix it up and add different textures, I guess. What resulted in that though is an insert that I'm not very happy with. I feel like it doesn't really go together. It doesn't really look like me. It's far too colorful for that. And I don't mean colorful in general because, as you'll see, I have a lot of colors in my journals. I mean, the ink color swaps up so often that I don't feel connected to it. But that's honestly so funny because with this journal, I had a lot of important things happen. I went on the vacation I had in 2020 before everything kind of happened, and during that vacation, I got engaged. And so that's something that I want to keep forever. It's just a shame that it's in an ugly bullet journal. And beauty is subjective. I'm sure that actually down the line looking through this, I'm going to be like, wow, that was really wonderful. It's just that right now, because it's so close to having had happened, I'm not super duper a fan of it. Now, this is a Nanami Paper Crossfield A5. It has a zillion pages, and they're all very thin, and they accept fountain pen very well. I had been using that as a diary for multiple years, and after I finished my January insert, I decided that I was going to use that as my bullet journal and just fill it up. Don't care how I do it, as long as I do it, and so that's what I did. I also have the February insert. Keep in mind that the big Nanami paper and then this kind of happened around the same time. So I would do some journaling here in my February insert, and then also in that little Nanami paper, oh my god, that giant A5 Nanami paper one. That one also went past February into like the hellish of the 2020. And so you'll kind of see in this notebook, I got a little bit different in the style. I was really focusing on the fountain pen. I had some Dungeons and Dragon notes, but I'm still trying to do a lot of colors with ink. I'm trying to draw things, and I I can tell that this insert, I'm kind of figuring out what does and doesn't work for me, but I'm still being stubborn and trying to experiment. And that's completely okay. I think that experimentation is one of the best things that you can do, especially in a journal, because that's what they're there for. They're for you. And I feel like I'm probably a broken record because I say this in so many videos, but journaling's for you. Whether you post it to YouTube or Instagram or not, it is a practice that is inherently for you. As much as there is a system, an industry, a market for selling journaly things and making videos about journaly things, at the heart of it, It's all about you and your documentation, your family, your life. As much as you can do something in journaling just for the video or just for the gram or etc., it's inherently a kind of selfish thing. Even if you're planning on passing it down to your relatives later on, or if you're just planning on writing it down and burning it later, it's for you. It's not really for anyone else. It is something that you are doing because it makes you happy, and that's that. Like this little journal here, I haven't finished it up just yet because I have 1 or 2 sessions left before it'll be filled, but this is my Dungeons and Dragons notebook. I'm not flipping through it because I don't want to kind of say what's going on in my Dungeons and Dragons group without my group knowing and kind of telling that story. I feel like that would be disrespectful. And so I'm not really flipping through it yet, but taking notes of all of my Dungeons and Dragons sessions. No one cares about that but me. And so that is something that I acknowledge and I love and I'm going to do anyways. This insert is going to actually be the last insert I have before I quit my job at the bakery. I'm making it super duper duper pretty. I'm trying to add a lot of tip-ins and little collage pieces. I have stamps, I have tea bags, I have little Mickey Mouse things that I've been trying to use up for forever. I have printed sprocket photos. I am putting an effort in this one, and I really do think it's because I've gotten to the point to where I have plans to leave the bakery. And so I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, everything's wonderful. Life is opening up again. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I switch jobs, I always go through this almost like how New Year's is with planning, where you're just like, everything's going to be great. I'm so excited for this change to happen. My life is going to be better. My skin will be clear. I'm going to be hydrated just magically. I won't even have to drink water. That's kind of how it goes. And so I put a lot of time into this bullet journal, and I think that's why. Um, Also, around this time, I changed my hair. So I have been growing out my hair from a bright pink pixie cut for the last few years. And so the ends of my hair have been a little bit bleached, but it's finally long enough to where I feel comfortable doing something that requires it being trimmed again. And so you probably saw a picture a little bit ago. It shows my hair and then my like weird caramely end pieces. But you'll see a picture coming up. I had a lot of fun. Actually, is it in this insert? I think it might be in the next one that I have the picture actually. Um, so 44, here we come. I also, around this time, I think I recorded decorating a lot of these covers, but I've started putting in a lot more effort into what I do for the little insert covers, and I really like that. I think for the longest time I tried to avoid decorating the covers because I was nervous about what it would do whenever I archive it. But also, even if it gets like yellowy and a little bit bent up, I feel like I would much rather have a super cool collaged cover than just like 3 stickers, the end. Which you already have a sneak peek of my next insert. I have like 4 stickers, the end. So you kind of get the idea. Ooh, and something that I did a lot in this insert that's different from the past ones, cutting up magazines. I think that I may have had like 1 or 2 little parts in my previous inserts this year, but I have gotten back into magazines. Um, I think around this time, I got a couple magazines from around where I work, and so there's lots of like beachy things and like, oh wow, have yourself a picnic, travel destination, ooh. And I've lived here my whole life. I don't care about that. And so I kind of put out a Facebook message or a Facebook post rather. Oh my God, I'm old. A Facebook post. And I was like, hey, if anyone has magazines that they're looking to get rid of, hit me up. I would love to cut them up and use them. And so I got lots of magazine-y things and I'm cutting them up and I'm using them. And I love that. Like, I'm doing a lot more color coordinating, a lot more creative things. And I think this insert, to me at least, is very successful in conveying one, something pretty, and two, a theme. Hey, there's my hair if you were looking for it. I'm purple now. Yay. Um, there's a cohesive theme with the page. And so, although the book itself is very different, I tried to color coordinate things a little bit better to make it more pleasing to look at. That way I didn't have like in my previous journals where it's like purple writing and blue writing and pink writing and oh, there's this thing that's red and I think I used a tape and it's blue. It goes more together and I like that. Something also about magazine clippings is that at the very end of the insert, whenever you're just ready to move on, you can also just glue them in. And it doesn't matter. And the page is filled. But it is also still technically a documentation of what you're into at that time because once you flip through it once you're older, like 20 years from now, I'm going to look at that and be like, wow, interior design was funky. I miss that. So I think that that is a very good excuse to fill up a journal. This one here, I started doing my little Rainbow Weekly thing. I think I recorded this as well. If I did, I'll go ahead and pin it at the top so that you can go back to it later. But I started doing a Rainbow Weekly and we watched a lot of movies this month. And so I tried to like print out sprocket photos and document it. I know I watched Project Power. We watched Agretsuko. I think I rewatched all the seasons, all like two, maybe three seasons. I feel like it's still two seasons. Rewatched that just over and over and over again. And the Diary of Jane Doe, or something Jane Doe, The Haunting of Jane Doe, whatever. I love watching movies with my partner. We do it a lot, honestly, and I think that it would be something nice to actually fully document when we do because we go through a lot of movies and I forget them often. You know, just forgetful things. Um, we'll be scrolling through Netflix and it'll be like, oh, we should watch this. And it's just like, we already did. How do you not remember anything about it? And I'm just like, oh, well, if you say we did, then we probably did. I won't waste that time, although I'll probably have a brand new experience all over again. Oh, and hashtag alive. I know that that little picture got printed twice, so that was probably the second time you've seen it in this flip through. That was such a good movie. Oh my gosh. I have a certain affinity for like the undead and zombie movies. And I'm not going to dwell too long on this because I know it's not for everyone, but if you really like that, hashtag alive is really good. I love it. I I also around this time got a ton of packs of washi stickers. I got lots of washi tapes and washi stickers, and so you'll see I use a lot of washi stickers on a couple spreads. And then in the back here, I have my washi tape swatches, I guess. Would you call them swatches? Those are so happy to me. I love looking at them. And I also have the little turtle Ellie Goulet sticker. It makes me really sad that the Goulets have kind of reduced their video output this year, though I completely understand why. Because they were a part of my life like multiple times a week, and now they're just like gone. This insert here, it's so chunky, and I'm not going to flip through it. I actually store a lot of things that I get from pen pals in there. And so if a pen pal sends me like a long written letter that I can't just tape into my journal, then I'll fold it up and then put it in there. Or if they send me with something that is like cute ephemera that I'm not going to put into my regular journal, I'll put it in there because every single thing is special to me. And I think that that is a good way for me to be able to see all of my fun pen pal things without having to just like go through a box because that to me is stressful. Into a new insert. This one I actually used for multiple months. So up until this point, for the inserts that you've seen, it is about 1 month at a time. And then I spent a long time in that Nanami Crossfield. This river, wow, oh my gosh. Okay, ignore my stuttering. This is a 013 insert from Traveler's Company. I'm using up all of my stash, and then I'm going to start actually making my own inserts. I just have a couple left over. This I spread out through October, November, and December. I I have nothing to tell you. I really don't know why it took me that long to fill this insert, but with that, I think that it got a lot of love. I think that with this insert, I spent a lot of time on the pages, and I think that you can really see that. They're more delicate, they're more stylized. Something else I did for this insert, I washi taped the edge of every single page. That's something that I've done before, and I really liked how it turned out, but the issue is that it makes for a very, very thick edge of the page, and so if you're not planning on filling it up with multiple things to make it chunky on the inside also, it's very uneven, and so I kind of made it a goal of mine to tip things in, add things in, try to make it a little bit chunkier than I typically do, and I did succeed, but funny enough, the middle is still so much less thick than the edges. And with that, I don't think I expected it to be even. I expected to just kind of make it more even. And so that worked out. And I really love this. And so you can see I've added in some little paper envelopes, more sprocket photos. That's of the Queen's Gambit. The Queen's Gambit has got to be one of my absolute favorite TV shows of 2020. I I think that you can probably tell by the way that I talk alone. I get distracted. I can't pay attention. It goes a lot into just me in general. But the Queen's Gambit hit so many of my little special interests that I just was glued to the TV. Because usually, in watching a show or watching a movie with my partner, I'm kind of bopping around. I'll do laundry while we're watching it, play on my phone. I'll probably break out my journal a couple times. I'll fidget. I'll walk around and play with the cats. I am very annoying to watch things with, but for the Queen's Gambit, I just sat there. I just sat there. Anytime anyone needed to go to the bathroom, I'd pause it and be like, okay, hurry back. That just was such a happy show. I say happy. It's not very happy, but it's very happy in that it was very pretty to look at and I liked what it was about. And so you'll see here again, I printed more sprocket photos of the Queen's Gambit. Okay, we are getting towards the end of this insert. Usually towards the end, I get a little bit lazy, and especially after I've been in this one for 3 months and it's so little, I was getting a little bit antsy. And so you'll see a mixture of things where I took a lot of time to kind of save things up, glue them in, and then you'll see things like this page specifically where it's just one ink pen, maybe some washi tape. That's about it. And doing these flip throughs, it's so interesting to me because it's a pattern I have with every single journal. And you would think that by now I would have figured something out to where I can like pre-decorate the end pages or something to make it to where the entire journal is a beautiful experience with just as much effort at the front as the back. But we're a mullet, baby. I know I've said that before. I love that. These little journals, they're little mullets. If you have a mullet journal, it's completely fine. And this is the Traveler's Company 2020 monthly insert. I never use those little front tracker things. I have no idea what I even would use it for. At the beginning of the year, I didn't really have very many plans. This month, I had a big old vacation. Here, I think, is where things start getting a little bit weird And now you can see I'm using multiple colors, stickers. I'm trying to really write down as much as I can to make my month seem happier than it actually has been. This year, as I'm sure it has been for very many, has been wild, but especially living in North America, in the United States of America, it's particularly wild because we don't know how to handle our stuff. And so I I I'm just at a loss of words. It's funky. And so my monthly insert this year is not very fun. I kind of write down things that need to be done, strings of time that I'm not working or important things are happening, and appointments. And that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I really hope that you have a good one. Bye.